Well, just out in the background, we are literally on top of the world here at Diners Club head office in Johannesburg, and it's a great pleasure for me to meet with Ebrahim Matthews, the Managing Director of Diners Club South Africa. How's it, Ebrahim?
How are you, Dave?
Ebrahim, very interestingly, Diners Club has been involved in golf for quite a number of years now, and over the last couple of years, through the Pro-Am series, have done exceptionally well. This year, that series culminates with a wonderful final in Mauritius. How's the South African chances looking?
Well, based on last year's performance, possibly not so great. We finished dead last year, but I'm pretty confident that we have a solid team this year. So I think we may do well. And given the South African spirit, the guys are pretty competitive. I think last year we had a couple of extenuating circumstances. One guy had an injury, actually fell in Mauritius and hurt his back quite badly, and that affected our chances quite a bit. So I think we'll have a better shot at it this year.
Golf is obviously a very global sport, and Diners Club have become very involved in the game of golf. Why is that?
Well, I suppose there are a couple of reasons. The first for me talks to the customers who we try to offer a payment service to. We don't pretend to be a card for the general public. We focus on a very niche market, and if you look at our market, a lot of them would typically be guys who play golf and ladies who play golf. And so that's the first reason. The second for me is, if you look at the history of Diners Club and how the company started, it started out as a club for diners, and hence we've retained the name. And that heritage still lives with us today. We're still a club, and as such, our members are critically important for us. And through the Pro-Am Classic Series, we give members access to an event that people who are not Diners Club members don't have access to. And so I suppose for those reasons, the Pro-Am Classic is pretty important for us and is an important annual event on our calendar.
Well, from a business perspective, as a young, very successful managing director of a big corporate, what drives you in terms of your personal achievements?
So I think it's important for me to acknowledge that I've always been blessed to have really great people around me. I think everything that one achieves is never achieved based on one's own efforts alone. I get support from a fantastic team at Diners Club South Africa in particular. So I suppose that answers part of the question. Is I have dynamic people around me, and that certainly helps me. And the environment in which one operates. I'm fortunate enough, again, to work in an environment where I've got a very supportive board, and Standard Bank, who owns the Diners Club business, is extremely supportive of Diners Club and the franchise in South Africa. So all of this, really drives me and supports the success I've achieved. And then most importantly for me is my family. I've got a wife and 3 beautiful young sons, and certainly, having 4 mouths to feed will drive anyone to succeed, I think. So those are probably the core reasons.
At the head of Diners Club, it's a big responsibility. What is your goal in terms of the future of Diners Club under your reign?
Yeah, so it's been 2 years, and it's been a wonderful 2 years. I think we've achieved some fantastic results in the last 2 years. Grown the base by 30% year on year. Our account base, number of customers we have. Our turnover is up quite substantially, so the business has done well, but still a lot to be done. So, I suppose some bold goals, but one of them would be to make Diners Club the leading charge card in South Africa. Would be to dominate the travel industry from a card payments perspective, and certainly would be to dominate the corporate payments space again. Looking at the card payments business. So some really bold goals, but I think that we're well on our way, and I think that we've got a strong chance to achieve all of those.
As a leader of an international company here in South Africa, what is the kind of advice that you could give some aspiring young business people?
So a couple of things, but I suppose some of them would be, it's important to maintain a work-life balance. Again, I mentioned I've got a young family. It's very important that one maintains a healthy balance between your career and your family. But there are a couple of other things I would suggest would be important. The one for me that's always worked is I always go with my gut, and that's worked, and so I'd offer that piece of advice. But probably the most critical piece of advice is, don't take yourself too seriously, but take your job and your career very seriously.
Well, that's great advice in terms of the business side of things. How about the golf course? You sort of alluded to 1 or 2 rounds of golf, and you're not playing as much as you would like. Do you really enjoy playing golf?
I love it. Again, for a variety of reasons. The first is when I do have the odd occasion, on the odd occasion when I do play golf, I get out of the office. And spending time out in the open with some friends playing a round of golf is absolutely awesome. And while my game is not necessarily the greatest, what I love about golf, and I know, this is something that people often talk about, but you hit one decent shot and it just makes your day. And for me, given how poor I play, just 1 or 2 good shots makes my day. But I absolutely love the game. I'd love to find more time to play, but with a young family, it makes it very tough.
Dana is obviously closely associated with travel. So what is your favorite golfing destination?
Yeah, a couple. So probably two sort of stick out for me. The one is I've played Moona Links in Australia. It's a links course, which again, given my golf, probably shouldn't be high on my list, but I had a pretty decent round. And then the other course, and I know it's not necessarily a destination course, but River Club also ranks highly on my list for one reason only. It's the first course where I broke 90. I've only done it twice in my life, and River Club was one of them, so quite enjoyed that. But Moona Links probably in Australia. And I had a wonderful experience in Nairobi. I played the Royal Nairobi, and that was a brilliant course. And again, had a decent round. Didn't manage to break 90, but I broke 100, which again, by my standards, is brilliant. So yeah, probably. It's a nice mix. I've enjoyed playing all over the world. Nairobi stuck out because it was surprising in how amazing the course was. Australia stuck out. The Moona Links was brilliant. And then the other would have been, I've played Mauritius, and I've played, where the Pro-Am Classic culminates in a final in Mauritius at Anahita this year and at Latouz Rock. And those are both amazing courses. I had the pleasure of playing both. And that would also rate quite highly on my list.
Ebrahim, thank you so much for your time.
Great pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it. Well, that just gives you a little insight into some of the corporate elements of this massive, massive company and the contribution that they make to golf that we all enjoy so much.